It all began on what was supposed to be a routine filming day for Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, but by the end of it, the entire set was in chaos. Rasheeda had stormed onto the stage with fire in her eyes, her heels clicking like warning shots against the floor, while producers scrambled to keep cameras rolling. What no one expected was how fast that fire would turn into an explosion when Jasmine Washington walked in, holding a stack of papers that would spark one of the most shocking moments in the franchise's history. Witnesses say it started quietly. Rasheeda was sitting at her vanity, touching up her makeup before the next scene, when Jasmine entered holding what looked like legal documents. At first, no one thought much of it, until Jasmine smirked and said, "You might want to sit down for this, because it's about your husband and $50 million. In that instant, the room went still. Even the makeup artist froze mid. Rasheeda turned her head, eyes narrowing, her tone sharp enough to slice through the silence. "What did you just say?" From there, things spiraled faster than anyone could control. Crew members whispered that Jasmine had been claiming to possess proof of fake contracts tied to a multi-million-dollar endorsement deal, documents allegedly linked to Kirk's name, but with Rasheeda's signature forged. The accusation alone hit like a thunderclap. Cameras caught Rasheeda standing up so quickly that her chair toppled backward. "You lying?" she shouted, her voice echoing across the set. Jasmine didn't back down. Instead, she stepped closer, waving the papers in Rasheeda's face and saying, "Then why does your name show up on every page?" Before anyone could react, Rasheeda reached out and slapped Jasmine on open-handed crack that made the room gasp in unison. Producers rushed in, security followed, and the two women had to be pulled apart, while Rasheeda yelled that she was being framed and Jasmine screamed that she had receipts. Fans who later saw leaked footage from the incident said they had never seen Rasheeda lose control like that. Some called it justified, others called it shocking. But everyone agreed this was beyond reality TV. Rumors started spreading within hours. Social media went wild with hashtags like #RASHEED, AV's Jasmine, and #50millionfraud. Bloggers claimed that Rasheeda had already called her lawyers, while insiders whispered that production might shut down entirely until the truth came out. Behind the scenes, the rest of the cast was torn, some defending Rasheeda's outburst, others quietly questioning whether Jasmine's claims might have some truth. By sunset, Atlanta was buzzing. What began as an on-set argument had erupted into a full-blown scandal involving money, betrayal, and possibly even criminal charges. Fans are still asking, was Jasmine's accusation a desperate grab for attention? Or did she just expose one of the biggest frauds in Love and Hip Hop history? One thing is certain: nothing will ever be the same again after the day Rasheeda's patience finally snapped. The scene picked up right where the chaos had left off. Jasmine's cheek was still red from the slap, her voice shaking but defiant as she shouted across the set, "You can't hide the truth forever, Rasheeda." Crew members were trying to pull them apart while security shouted for calm, but the damage had already been done. The air was heavy with tension, and everyone could feel that this wasn't just another Love and Hip Hop argument, this was personal. Rasheeda's chest was rising and falling fast, her hands trembling as she pointed at Jasmine. "You walk in here with fake papers and think you can destroy my name? You think you can play with my family again?" Her words cracked in the middle, a mix of anger and disbelief. Jasmine laughed bitterly, shaking her head. "Fake, baby. You'll wish they were fake. I got proof. Contracts, transfers, even your husband's emails." The entire production crew froze at the mention of emails. Kirk, who had been standing off to the side trying to stay out of it, finally stepped forward, his voice calm but tight. "Jasmine, don't start this mess again. You've been trying to drag us for years." She turned on him fast, eyes blazing. "Don't act innocent, Kirk. You know exactly what I'm talking about. $50 million from those business ventures, money that wasn't even real, fake contracts, fake endorsements, all under Rasheeda's name. And when it blew up, you two buried it." A hush fell over the set. Someone from sound whispered, "Is this for real?" But no one dared move. Rasheeda's voice dropped to a low growl. "You better watch what you say, Jasmine. You're playing with something you don't understand." Fans would later describe the leaked footage as the most shocking 5 minutes in Atlanta TV history. It wasn't just the slap, it was the raw fury that followed. Rasheeda lunged again, this time shouting, "You won't ruin me," before Kirk wrapped his arms around her, pulling her back. Jasmine stumbled, dropping the stack of papers that scattered across the floor like confetti. One of the camera operators instinctively zoomed in. The documents looked real: stamps, signatures, even bank seals. And that image, those scattered papers on the ground, would become the photo that flooded every gossip page within hours. When filming finally stopped, production sent everyone home, But the story didn't stop there. Within minutes, someone from the crew had texted a blogger. Within an hour, Rasheeda slaps Jasmine over $50 million. Fraud was trending. By the next morning, Atlanta was in a frenzy. Talk shows were calling it the slap heard round love and hip-hop. Memes spread like wildfire. But behind all that noise, something deeper was brewing. Rasheeda stayed silent for the first 24 hours, refusing to post anything. Kirk was spotted driving away from their boutique, looking tense. And Jasmine did what Jasmine always does. She went live. Her Instagram live drew nearly 50,000 viewers within minutes. Sitting in her living room, hair tied up, no makeup, she stared directly into the camera and said, "I didn't want to do this, but since she hit me, since they want to act brand new, let's talk about those fake contracts." She held up a folder, thick with papers. "This right here, this is what the lawyers will be looking at." For years, Kirk and Rasheeda been playing with numbers. They set up shell companies, took out loans under fake branding deals, and laundered it through Rasheeda's businesses. And now they're acting like I made it all up. Comments flooded her screen, fans dropping shocked emojis, people begging for proof, others calling her a liar. But Jasmine didn't flinch. She smiled and said, "Y'all will see soon enough. Receipts don't lie." Rasheeda's team tried to control the damage. Later that night, her publicist released a short statement calling Jasmine's claims baseless and defamatory. It said Rasheeda had never been involved in any fraudulent activity and would take legal action against anyone spreading false allegations. But fans weren't satisfied. The word fraud had already attached itself to Rasheeda's name like a curse. Blogs dissected every financial move she'd ever made, pulling up old interviews, comparing dates and numbers. One post even claimed that a mysterious $3.8 million wire transfer linked to Kirk's company had never been accounted for. And just like that, what started as on-set drama turned into a full-blown scandal. Days later, filming resumed under strict supervision. Security was doubled, and producers made sure no phones were allowed on set. Still, the energy was off. Everyone walked on eggshells. Erica Mena whispered to Bambi, "You can feel it. Something's about to blow again." And she was right, because Jasmine came back. She walked onto that same set, wearing sunglasses and a calm smile, holding her phone up like she was recording for her followers. "Miss me?" she said softly, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Rasheeda froze, mid-conversation. The room went silent again. Jasmine continued, "Oh, don't look so surprised. I'm just here to make sure y'all don't edit the truth this time." Rasheeda stood up slowly. Her tone was measured but sharp. "You really want another scene? Huh, that what you came for?" Jasmine shrugged. "I came for my justice, and maybe for another slap if you got one left." A few crew members laughed nervously, but no one dared intervene. Kirk walked in from behind the set curtain, rubbing his temples. "Jasmine, what do you even want? Money? Attention? What?" She turned to him, voice rising. "I want accountability, Kirk. You used my name once to cover your dirt. You promised me I'd get paid. I got nothing but humiliation. You think I forgot?" Rasheeda's patience was thinning. She stepped closer until they were face to face. "You brought this on yourself. You used me, my husband, my family, for your 15 minutes. And now you're trying to flip the story." Jasmine's eyes glistened. "I used you, please. You both used me. And now that I'm exposing it, you mad?" Tears welled in her eyes, but her voice didn't shake. "You can't buy silence forever." Rasheeda clenched her fists but didn't move this time. Instead, she said quietly, "Then show time." Instead, she said quietly, "Then show your so-called proof, right here, right now." Jasmine smiled, wiped her tears, and held up her phone. "Gladly," she said, "because I already sent it to every major blog in Atlanta. By the time you leave this set, everyone will see what I got." The crew gasped. Kirk's face drained of color. Someone from production shouted to cut cameras, but it was too late. Everything was already in motion, and as Jasmine walked out, she turned back one last time and said, "You wanted a storyline. Congratulations, you just got one worth $50 million. The next morning, headlines exploded again. Screenshots of alleged financial documents circulated online. None of them were confirmed, but the internet didn't care. Fans debated for hours, dissecting every detail, connecting names and numbers. Some claimed the documents were photoshopped, others swore they were authentic. And while Rasheeda's legal team scrambled to shut it all down, Jasmine's following doubled overnight. By the end of the week, she had signed with a talent agency and was booked for interviews. Meanwhile, Rasheeda stayed out of sight, her boutique shuttered, her social media silent. The silence only fueled speculation. Producers from Love and Hip Hop saw an opportunity. they decided to turn the chaos into storyline gold. They reached out to both women, offering to film a truth special. Jasmine immediately agreed. Rasheeda hesitated, but Kirk convinced her. "We can't hide," he told her. "The only way to fix this is to face it." And so, after weeks of public tension, the two women would meet again, this time, not by accident, but by design. And as the cameras prepared to roll on that fateful reunion, no one in Atlanta could predict just how explosive the next confrontation would be. The reunion was filmed inside a dimly lit warehouse space just outside Atlanta, chosen deliberately to look dramatic on camera. Every light seemed colder than usual, every breath heavy with anticipation. The producers wanted a spectacle, and they were about to get one. When Rasheeda arrived, dressed in all black with her hair pinned tight, she looked calm on the surface, but her eyes told another story. She wasn't there for PCII, was there for war. Jasmine, on the other hand, walked in wearing a cream-colored suit, her confidence almost theatrical. She smiled at the cameras, waved at the small audience, and said, "I told y'all the truth was coming." That line alone sent Twitter into meltdown within minutes. As soon as filming began, the tension was unbearable. The host tried to keep things civil, starting with basic questions, but Rasheeda wasn't interested in rehearsed politeness. She leaned forward, eyes locked on Jasmine, and said, "You lied about my name being on any fake contract. Show one document that proves it." Jasmine smirked and reached for a manila folder on the table. "I brought more than one," she said softly. The audience gasped as she opened it, revealing printed pages marked with signatures, stamps, and what looked like bank records. "This is just a preview," Jasmine continued. "The rest are with my lawyer." The cameras zoomed in. Rasheeda snatched one page from her hand, scanning it fast. Her face went pale. "This is nonsense," she snapped, crumpling the page in her fist. "You printed something off Google and called it evidence." Jasmine leaned back, smiling slightly. "If that's true, why does it match your tax ID?" The room went silent again. Kirk shifted in his seat, looking uncomfortable. The host tried to intervene, but Jasmine's voice rose, cutting through the air. "You forged numbers, Kirk. I was there when you said it would just be for show. You said no one would ever check. And now you both acting shocked." Kirk's jaw tightened. "You don't know what you're talking about." Jasmine laughed bitterly. "Oh, I know exactly what I'm talking about. You promised me 5% of that deal. You made $50 million. I got nothing but your lies." The audience gasped as Jasmine's voice cracked. Rasheeda suddenly stood up, slamming her hand on the table. "Stop lying," she shouted. "We never made that kind of money. 50 million. Girl, you sound crazy." Jasmine stood up too. "Then explain the shell company, Rasheeda. Explain the offshore account." That's when Kirk finally spoke up, trying to regain control. "There was no offshore account. Jasmine's just twisting things because she's bitter. We cut her off, and now she's mad." Jasmine glared at him. "You didn't cut me off, Kirk. You used me. You used me to move money when your label was falling apart. And I was stupid enough to believe you loved me." The crowd gasped again. Rasheeda froze, eyes wide, her voice suddenly lower. "What did you just say?" Jasmine stared back. "You heard me. He told me he loved me. He said he was leaving you." Rasheeda's entire body went still, the kind of stillness that comes before a storm. Kirk started to speak, but Rasheeda cut him off. "Don't say a word." Her voice was trembling, quiet, but more dangerous than yelling. The host tried to call for a break, but production didn't dare stop filming. This was the kind of moment they lived for. Rasheeda took a deep breath, then turned to Jasmine. "You think this little stunt makes you powerful? It makes you desperate. You still chasing the same man who never wanted you? And now you dragging my name because you've got nothing left." Jasmine's eyes filled with tears, but her voice stayed steady. "No, Rasheeda, I'm dragging your name because you hid what he did. You knew." The accusation hung in the air. The audience murmured, and Kirk stood up abruptly, knocking his microphone off. "That's enough," he barked. "We're done here." But Jasmine stepped in front of him, blocking his path. "Not until you admit it, Kirk. Tell her the truth. Tell her about the money." Rasheeda turned to Kirk, her expression unreadable. "What money, Kirk?" He hesitated, rubbing his hands together. "It's not what she's making it sound like." It was, but Jasmine interrupted. "Oh, it's exactly what it sounds like." She turned to the cameras. "He created fake music contracts under new artist names, funneled the cash through endorsements, then used Rasheeda's businesses to make it look clean. That's fraud, baby. And you know what's worse? Her name's on the paperwork." Kirk's voice rose. "That's a lie." Jasmine snapped back. "Then prove it." The audience clapped, some cheering Jasmine, others booing her. Chaos erupted again as producers tried to calm the crowd. Outside the studio, social media exploded for the second time. Hashtags like hashtag #RASHEEDA truth and hashtag Jasmine exposed trended simultaneously. One camp believed Jasmine completely, calling her the whistleblower of love and hip-hop. Another accused her of manufacturing a storyline for attention. Meanwhile, lawyers started getting involved. For real. Sources close to the production claimed VH1 had halted the next few filming days to review potential legal exposure. Rasheeda's mother called into a local radio show, defending her daughter passionately. "My baby don't need to steal from nobody," she said. "She built everything she got from hard work. That girl Jasmine, just jealous." But things got darker when an anonymous email began circulating among Atlanta's gossip blogs. It contained what appeared to be screenshots of internal business messages between Kirk's old management company and several investors. One message read, "Use the Rasheeda brand to mask transfer." Whether real or fake, the screenshots fueled the fire. Within hours, online detectives were dissecting every detail, comparing timestamps, analyzing fonts. Meanwhile, Jasmine doubled down. She posted a cryptic tweet. "I told y'all, 50 million ain't invisible. Receipts dropping soon." Behind closed doors, Rasheeda was unraveling. According to one insider, she spent an entire night crying after the reunion shoot, saying over and over, "How could he do this again?" Kirk tried to reassure her, but even he looked shaken. The next morning, paparazzi caught him outside a lawyer's office, and that image sent rumors flying again. Jasmine, on the other hand, was thriving in the spotlight. She was invited to appear on a popular podcast, where she repeated her claims in more detail, saying, "I kept quiet because I didn't want to ruin anybody's marriage. But after that slap, no mercy." The show host asked if she feared legal action. Jasmine laughed. "They can sue me all they want. Truth is a defense, baby." That line went viral. Within hours, fans began sharing old clips of Rasheeda and Kirk discussing their finances on camera, turning them into evidence threads. Suddenly, every past scene was being reinterpreted through the lens of the new scandal. What once looked like a happy couple's hustle now looked like a cover-up. Even fellow castmates started picking sides. Erica Mena commented under a gossip post, "The truth always finds its way out." Bambi replied with an emoji of popcorn. Production scrambled to regain control, but the genie was of popcorn. Production scrambled to regain control, but the genie was out of the bottle. In just a few days, the scandal had outgrown the show itself. Advertisers were threatening to pull deals, fans were divided, and Atlanta was buzzing with one question: who is really telling the truth? Because somewhere beneath the drama, the tears, and the social media firestorm, there were real numbers, real signatures, and real stakes. And if Jasmine's next receipt drop was as explosive as she promised, it could destroy more than just reputations. It could bring everything crashing down. The third part of this saga began with the kind of silence that only comes after a storm. For 3 whole days, both Rasheeda and Kirk vanished from public view. No posts, no sightings, no statements. Fans started calling it the quiet before the collapse. Jasmine, however, was everywhere. She knew exactly how to control the narrative. Interviews, Instagram lives, cryptic captions. Every move she made kept her at the center of the chaos. One night, she posted a photo sitting on a marble counter, glass of wine in hand, with the caption, "Sometimes the truth buys better furniture." It racked up over 100,000 likes in less than an hour. But her calm exterior was hiding something else entirely. She'd started getting threats. People were angry, divided, and obsessed. Some called her brave, others called her dangerous. Meanwhile, inside a gated house on the outskirts of Atlanta, Rasheeda sat in her living room, surrounded by piles of papers and open laptops. Kirk was pacing the floor, phone pressed to his ear. "I told you to shut it down." He barked at someone on the other end. "I don't care what she says. Get those posts down." Rasheeda barely looked up. She had dark circles under her eyes, her voice low and tired. "It's too late, Kirk. This isn't going away." He turned toward her, his frustration boiling over. "You think I don't know that? But what do you want me to do? Admit to something I didn't do?" She looked at him for a long moment, then said quietly, "I don't know what to believe anymore." It was the first time she'd said it out loud, and it hit him like a punch. Kirk sat down across from her, rubbing his face. "Rasheeda, I swear to God, I didn't forge anything. I don't even know where she's getting this 50 million number from. She's making it up." Rasheeda shook her head slowly. "Then how does she have those documents, Kirk? How does she have my name on papers I never signed?" He hesitated. That pause said everything. She stared at him, eyes widening. "Oh my God, you did something, didn't you?" He looked down, unable to meet her gaze. "It's not what you think," he muttered. That line shattered her. She stood up, voice trembling. Not what I think. Kirk, you've done this before. The cheating, the lies every time you say that, it turns out to be exactly what I think. He stood up too, reaching for her. Rasheeda, listen to me, but she stepped back. No, you listen. You put my name on something illegal, didn't you? His silence was the only answer she needed. She turned away, tears welling in her eyes. You've ruined everything. That night, Rasheeda's best friend Carly Red came over, bringing wine and gossip, as she always did, but this time, there was no laughter. Rasheeda sat on the couch, holding her head. I can't believe he'd drag me into this, she whispered. Carly sighed. Girl, you know Kirk's been doing shady stuff for years, but Jasmine, she dangerous. She's not just coming for him, she's coming for you. Rasheeda nodded slowly. And she's winning. The next morning, a bombshell dropped. TMZ ran an exclusive claiming that a private investigator had found inconsistencies in Rasheeda's business filings. The report didn't name sources, but everyone knew where it came from. Jasmine posted a simple reaction, a smirking emoji. Within hours, blogs were flooded with speculation that federal agents might get involved. The words federal investigation started trending, even though no one had confirmed anything. The scandal had officially left the realm of TV drama and entered real-world danger. Meanwhile, Jasmine wasn't backing down. She went live again, her tone calmer this time, almost sympathetic. Look, I didn't want to hurt nobody, she said, her voice soft. But when people try to ruin you, sometimes you gotta protect yourself. I was loyal once, but loyalty don't pay bills. And when you slap somebody on camera, you better expect consequences. Her followers flooded the comments, cheering her on. One fan wrote, she's fearless. Another said, Rasheeda better start talking. Jasmine smiled faintly at the screen. Oh, she'll talk soon enough. They all do. Back in Rasheeda's world, producers from Love and Hip Hop were panicking. The show was becoming a legal nightmare. Sponsors threatened to pull out if any actual fraud was confirmed. The network demanded that production pause until the authenticity of the claims could be reviewed. Behind closed doors, executives debated cutting Jasmine from the show entirely, but she had the public on her side now. Her scenes were getting more engagement than anyone else's. Firing her would only make it worse. So instead, they leaned in. They began secretly developing a spin-off special titled The Atlanta Truth, Rasheeda vs. Jasmine. When Rasheeda found out, she was furious. They turning my life into a circus, she told Kirk. They don't care about the truth, they care about ratings. Kirk sighed. We signed up for this. You know how this game works. She glared at him. No, Kirk, you signed me up for your mess. The following week, Jasmine received a cease and desist letter from Rasheeda's lawyer, demanding she stop making public statements. She posted it online. Guess who's trying to silence me now? She wrote. If it's fake, why they scared? Her followers went wild again. Every post she made fueled another wave of speculation. And then came the biggest twist yet. One night, an anonymous Instagram account uploaded a short video clip, grainy, dimly lit, but clear enough to recognize Kirk's voice. In the video, he was sitting in what looked like an office, talking on speakerphone. Just sign her name, it's easier that way. Nobody checks small endorsement contracts. The clip was only 14 seconds long, but it broke the internet. People replayed it over and over, comparing the voice, the phrasing, even the background furniture. And although Kirk immediately denied it, saying it was a deepfake, the damage was irreversible. Rasheeda's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Messages from friends, fans, even journalists. She turned it off, sat on her bed, and stared into space. Her entire world felt like it was collapsing in slow motion. Kirk came into the room quietly, holding his phone. Babe, you gotta believe me, he whispered. She didn't look at him. I believed you every time, she said softly. Look where that got me. As Atlanta buzzed with the scandal, producers leaked news that the upcoming reunion special would include never-before-seen evidence. Fans went insane. Hashtags, debates, conspiracy threads. It was chaos. Everyone wanted to know what would happen next. And somewhere, alone in her apartment, Jasmine watched the madness unfold on her phone, a slow smile spreading across her face. She whispered to herself, and this is only the beginning. The club had emptied, but the echoes of the fight refused to die. Security footage leaked within hours, showing Mendices storming out while Kirk was being held back by two men. The audio was muffled, yet one thing was clear: Mendices shouting, "You fake bro. You talk loyalty, but you chase clout." That one line spread through social media like wildfire. By dawn, the blogs had their headlines ready. Atlanta War, Kirk Frost vs. Mendices Harris. Yandi woke up to a flood of missed calls and tagged posts. She scrolled through comments that painted Mendices as both a hero and a villain. Meanwhile, Rasheeda sat in silence, staring at a message from Carly that read, "Girl, your husband trending again." When she showed it to Kirk, he snapped. "Of course, because your girl Yandy started this." That jab reopened every old wound between them, the business disagreements, the gossip, the resentment over who stood by whom when their brands struggled. By the time the production team showed up at Frost Bistro to get statements, Kirk and Rasheeda were already filming damage control. Rasheeda tried to stay calm, saying on camera, "It's sad to see brothers fight over pride. We're all supposed to be grown." But Kirk interrupted, his tone sharp. "Nah, I'm done Mendices crossed the line. You? Sharp. Nah, I'm done Mendices crossed the line. You? Don't disrespect a man's wife and expect peace." His words sent shockwaves through the crew. This wasn't just a feud, it was turning into a televised reckoning. Later that afternoon, Yandy met Mendices in their driveway. He was pacing, furious but silent. "You know how they twist everything," she said softly, trying to steady him. "You gave them a headline, not the truth." He shook his head, his voice cracking. "I've had brothers betray me before, but Kirk, I thought he was solid." Cameras caught that moment too, the pain, the disbelief, the quiet break in his voice that fans would later loop over slow piano music. Meanwhile, Rasheeda was in her office, trying to calm sponsors who feared the fallout would damage their image. "We built this brand from scratch," she said over the phone. "We're not about chaos, we're about growth." Yet deep down, she knew the truth. Chaos sold better. Every dramatic headline boosted engagement. Every viral clip brought new viewers. Still, the cost was real. Her husband's friendship was collapsing in public, and her alliance with Yandy, once their power duo bond, was slipping away, buried under pride and perception. By evening, Mona Scott's team began editing the fight into the next episode's teaser. The trailer opened with Rasheeda shouting, "You don't play with loyalty," then cut to Mendices slamming a glass down, followed by Yandy's trembling voice. "We all losing ourselves for the cameras." The internet exploded again. Fans divided into camps, each dissecting every second of footage, debating who was real and who was acting. When night came, Atlanta's skyline glowed with its usual glamour. But within the world of love and hip-hop, the glow had dimmed. Two friendships that once defined unity were in ruins. And as the cameras shut down for the day, one producer whispered, "This might be the season that breaks them for good." The story wasn't done yet. The next morning, a single post would set the internet ablaze again, one that hinted the feud wasn't just personal, but about betrayal and money. And this time, the women weren't staying silent. At 7:42 a.m., the world woke up to an Instagram story from Yandy, a simple black background with one sentence written in white text. "Loyalty ends where self-interest begins." No tags, no hashtags, but everyone knew who it was about. Within minutes, the Shade Room screenshotted it, adding their caption, "Yandy throwing shade after Mendices Kirk fight. Things getting messy in Atlanta." And messy was an understatement. The city hadn't even had its coffee before the gossip engines roared to life. By 9 a.m., Rasheeda posted a photo of her and Kirk at Frost Bistro with the caption, "Standing strong together." Some people forget where they came from. Fans immediately connected the dots. Yandy's loyalty post versus Rasheeda's standing strong looked like digital warfare. The comments were ruthless. Team Yandy fans accused Rasheeda of fake support, while Team Rasheeda claimed Yandy had been stirring drama for relevance. What started as a club fight had now become a full-blown social media war. Behind the screens, the tension grew uglier. Mendices wanted to post too, but Yandy stopped him. "Don't feed it," she said. "Let them look thirsty." But her calm advice didn't match her own actions. She'd already texted Carly, read a long message venting about how Rasheeda used to be real but got too That message, of course, didn't stay private for long. Carly, ever the chaos courier, forwarded it to Rasheeda with the note, "You might want to see what your friend's saying." Rasheeda saw red. She called Yandy immediately, voice sharp and cutting. "So this what we doing now? You talking behind my back after your man started the mess?" Yandy's tone stayed cool. "I'm not doing this over the phone. You got something to say? Say it in person." Rasheeda didn't hesitate. "Bet. Let's talk on camera then." That single line guaranteed the next episode's highest ratings of the season. Production rushed to arrange a meeting at a neutral spot, an upscale Atlanta spa where both women were supposed to cool off. The setup looked peaceful. Candles, essential oils, cucumber water. But the moment Rasheeda walked in, the air turned heavy. Yandy sat cross-legged, calm but unreadable. "You know I always had love for you," she started, her voice low, But you let your husband turn you against people who never meant harm. Rasheeda shot back instantly. Don't flip it, Yandi. You've been gossiping behind my back while pretending to be my sister. Their words grew sharper. Yandi accused Rasheeda of being corporate to the point of fake. While Rasheeda fired back that Yandi hid behind the victim act every season. The cameras caught every glare, every tremble, every crack in their friendship. It wasn't two women fighting, it was two empires colliding. Both knew that their brand images, partnerships, and years of fan loyalty were at stake. Back in his studio, Kirk vented to Scrappy and Jock, replaying the fight over and over. You think I wanted to swing? Man, disrespected me. Jock raised an eyebrow. Yeah, but the way this city talkin', it looked like y'all got beef over money. Kirk froze for a moment, avoiding eye contact. Jock noticed. Wait, is it about money? The question hung in the air like smoke. Kirk finally muttered. A deal went bad. He know what he did. That line would soon echo through Atlanta's gossip circles. Because if there was money involved, everything suddenly made sense. The anger, the betrayal, the silence between two men who used to move like brothers. By that night, Mendici's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Bloggers were tagging him in posts claiming he scammed Kirk out of an investment deal. He threw his phone on the couch and muttered, "They really trying to ruin me." Yandi, pacing behind him, said quietly, "Then tell your truth." He looked up, jaw clenched. "Oh, I will. And when I do, everybody gonna see who's really fake." Atlanta didn't know it yet, but Mendici's was about to go livid. What he was preparing to say would send shockwaves that no one could contain. The truth, or his version of it, was about to burn through every friendship, every alliance, every lie that had been smiling for the cameras. When the notification popped up, Mendici's Harris is live half of Atlanta, stopped what they were doing. Within 5 minutes, over 40,000 people had joined. The screen showed him in a plain black hoodie, sitting in his studio with tired eyes and a clenched jaw. His voice came out low and steady at first. "I kept quiet because I thought loyalty still meant something," he said, "but since people want to paint me as some scammer, let's get real tonight." The comment section exploded instantly. He about to spill. Tag Kirk. Yandi must be losing it. He took a breath, rubbed his face, then leaned closer to the camera. "I put money into a project with Kirk, 50 million on paper, but not all real cash. It was about branding, exposure, promotion. We both knew that, but when things slowed down, when deals started fading, suddenly I became the bad guy. They saying I faked contracts. Nah, the only fake thing was the friendship." The chat went wild. Fans started tagging Rasheeda and Yandi, demanding they respond. But Mendici's wasn't done. He went on to accuse Rasheeda of fronting like a boss while hiding her husband's mess, and said that Yandi was only guilty of trusting people who smile in her face but whisper behind her back. Then, for the first time, he mentioned the slap. Rasheeda hit Jasmine because Jasmine tried to warn her, tried to tell her the contracts Kirk been signing weren't what he said they were. The words hit like a thunderclap. Viewers gasped in the comments, typing so fast that the live chat lagged. Wait, Jasmine was right. Rasheeda slapped her for telling the truth. This is wild. Yandi, watching from the other room, put her hand over her mouth. She whispered, "Oh my God. He actually said it." It was no longer private drama, was national entertainment. Blogs began posting clips of the live stream before it even ended. By the time Mendici signed off, "I said my piece," the internet had already split into factions. Team Rasheeda fans called it damage control. Team Yandi claimed vindication. And Jasmine, she simply posted a single photo of herself in sunglasses with the caption, "Truth don't need makeup." It was cold, elegant, and perfectly timed. The next day, Frost. Elegant and perfectly timed. The next day, Frost. Bistro was packed with reporters and curious fans hoping to spot Rasheeda or Kirk. Inside, Rasheeda sat in a private booth, silent, her phone lighting up nonstop. Kirk was pacing. "You gonna let him talk about us like that?" he snapped. Rasheeda finally lifted her head. "If we answer, we give him more power. I'm not feeding that man's fame." Kirk slammed his hand on the table. "He already fed off us. You think silence gonna fix 50 million worth of lies?" Her eyes met his. "Then prove it. Show the papers." For a brief second, Kirk froze. Rasheeda noticed. "You do have them, right?" The question sliced the air. He looked away, muttering, "It's complicated." Her expression shifted from anger to disbelief. "Don't tell me he was right." Kirk didn't answer. He just exhaled, long and slow. Rasheeda stood up. "You destroyed everything we built, and you let me slap that girl over your lie." Then she walked out, leaving him staring at the untouched glasses of water on the table. By sunset, the story had evolved again. New blogs claimed Rasheeda considering divorce. Others insisted Jasmine to file lawsuit over on-set assault. VH1 insiders whispered that production had called an emergency meeting to discuss damage control. Cameras might have stopped rolling that day, but the drama kept unfolding in real life. Yandi tried to call Rasheeda, but her number was blocked. Kirk texted Mendices a single line, "You went too far." Mendices didn't reply. The following week, Yandi held her own live session. Her tone was calm but cutting. "All I'll say is, the truth got a way of surviving even when people bury it under money." Fans praised her poise, calling it the classiest clapback ever. Meanwhile, Jasmine stayed silent. No interviews, no comments, just one more cryptic post. "Atlanta can keep its secrets. I've got receipts." That one sentence sent the city into chaos again. Every blog, every fan page, every YouTube channel began speculating what receipts, what proof, and was the $50 million fraud real after all? By now, the entire love and hip-hop universe was trembling. Producers debated whether to air the footage of the slap or cut it out to avoid lawsuits. But when early test audiences saw a teaser clip Rasheeda lunging, Yandi screaming, Jasmine dodging it tested higher than any moment in the show's recent history. Ratings meant money, and money always wins. The network decided to air everything, unedited. When the episode finally premiered, it broke every record. Social media exploded. Viewers called it the wildest episode in reality TV history. But what stayed on people's minds wasn't just the slap, it was the truth behind it. Was it really about fraud, or betrayal, or jealousy? No one knew for sure. That night, Yandi posted one last story. "Peace always comes after the storm, but some storms never end." It was poetic, haunting, and perfectly timed. And somewhere across Atlanta, as the city quieted, the three women Rasheeda, Yandi, and Jasmine sat in separate rooms, each holding their phones, scrolling through endless comments, wondering the same thing. Who was the real villain in this story? Because in the city where fame feeds on chaos, the truth isn't what's real, it's what goes viral. And this time, Atlanta had gone far beyond viral. It had erupted. The aftermath of Atlanta's most explosive feud didn't fade quietly. It lingered in every corner of social media like smoke after a fire. Within days, the story jumped from gossip blogs to mainstream talk shows. Reporters replayed the slap, slowed it down, analyzed it frame by frame. Was Rasheeda's reaction a burst of anger, or the result of months of deceit boiling over? Was Jasmine truly innocent, or did she spark the chaos to reclaim her relevance? The questions kept multiplying, and the answers kept changing depending on who was telling the story. Rasheeda finally stepped out in public a week later, wearing a sharp white blazer and oversized sunglasses, her face unreadable. The paparazzi surrounded her, shouting questions about Jasmine, Kirk, and the supposed $50 million fraud. She stopped, turned to one of them, and said quietly, "Sometimes, people you trust make mistakes too big to fix. I'm focused on rebuilding my peace." That single line became a headline within minutes. Fans flooded her comments with support, calling her the definition of grace under fire. But others weren't convinced. Some insisted she was still hiding something, that Kirk's silence wasn't loyalty, it was guilt. Kirk, on the other hand, stayed out of sight. For a man who once loved attention, the glare had grown too harsh. Behind closed doors, he was reportedly meeting with lawyers, accountants, and damage control experts. Whispers circulated that some of the contracts Mendices mentioned were, in fact, questionable. If proven true, the fraud rumors wouldn't just destroy reputations, they could bring legal consequences. Atlanta wasn't just watching a reality show anymore. It was watching real lives unravel under the weight of fame. Yandi kept her composure, choosing strategic calm over chaos. When asked about the feud during a podcast appearance, she smiled and said, "Everyone's truth eventually meets the light. I don't need to fight for mine." The host tried pressing for details, but she refused to bite. That restraint, that quiet confidence, only made fans root for her more. She became the symbol of dignity amidst destruction, the voice of reason in a storyline built on fury. Yet those close to her said she was more hurt than she let on. That behind the calm smile was a woman who'd lost two friendships she once considered family. As for Jasmine, her silence was her power. She let the internet do her work. Hashtags like #Justice for Jasmine and #RASHEEDA slapped her trended for days. Still, no lawsuit had been filed, though insiders claimed she was in talks with her team. The slap had turned her from the show's side character into its central force, the one whose truth could dismantle an empire or rebuild her own. The network executives couldn't believe their luck. Ratings were at a historic high. Every preview, Every clip, every reunion tease only added gasoline to the fire. When asked if the show was exploiting real pain, one producer reportedly replied, "We don't create the drama, we just film it." But everyone knew better. In reality TV, lines blur until truth becomes performance, and performance becomes survival. Then came the reunion episode, the stage glowing under bright lights, audience buzzing with anticipation. Rasheeda walked out first, her chin high. Yandi followed, cool and composed. And finally, Jasmine entered, unbothered, her expression unreadable. The host wasted no time. "Rasheeda, do you regret what happened that day?" Silence stretched before she said, "I regret losing control, but not standing up for myself." The audience murmured. Jasmine leaned forward. "You didn't stand up for yourself, you stood up for a lie." The crowd gasped. Yandi stepped in, her voice calm but firm. "Enough of the blaming. We all got burned in this fire. It's time to stop pretending like anyone here won." The host nodded. "So who's telling the truth, Yandi?" She looked at both women, then into the camera. "Maybe none of us. Maybe Atlanta just got too addicted to drama." That sentence became legend quoted, remixed, turned into memes. Fans said it was the most real moment in the show's history. But even then, nothing was truly resolved. Kirk's finances remained under investigation. Rasheeda's marriage hung by a thread. Jasmine hinted at dropping evidence, and Yandi's brand deals soared from the renewed spotlight. Chaos had turned into currency, and everyone cashed in differently. As the final credits rolled, the city exhaled, but the tension never really left. Atlanta had erupted, and in its ashes stood the broken pieces of loyalty, money, and fame, each too valuable and too toxic to let go. In a way, this wasn't just a story about betrayal. It was a mirror reflecting what happens when love and ambition collide under the camera's gaze. And now, as you sit there watching, think about it. Who do you believe? Was Rasheeda the victim of manipulation, or the mastermind behind the cover-up? Was Jasmine a whistleblower, or an opportunist? Was Yandi truly innocent, or just the best at playing calm while chaos swirled around her? The truth, like the show, belongs to whoever tells it loudest. So tell us, what's your take? Whose side are you on? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because we're reading every one. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because we're reading every single one. Make sure you hit that like button if you're still stunned by how deep this story went. And subscribe if you want to stay locked in as we uncover what happens next. Trust us, Atlanta isn't done erupting, and when the next explosion hits, you'll want to be right here to see it first. The city didn't sleep that night. Atlanta pulsed under its own tension. A restless hum of gossip and half-truths, spreading like static through every club, salon, and studio. Phones buzzed, group chats lit up, and everyone had an opinion about who was lying. But while the internet argued, something else was already moving beneath the noise. Something bigger than betrayal, bigger than a slap. It started quietly, with a call Yandi didn't expect, a number she didn't recognize. But when she answered, the voice on the other end froze her in place. "Ms. Smith, this is Detective Harris, Financial Crimes Division. We'd like to ask you a few questions about some business documents that recently came to our attention." For the first time since the chaos began, Yandi's calm cracked. "Wait, what? Business documents? I'm not involved in that." But the voice didn't flinch. "It involves several contracts bearing your digital signature." She went cold. "That's impossible," she said, her voice tight. But the detective replied flatly, "Then I suggest you come down and clear your name." The call ended, leaving her heart pounding. She sat in silence for a moment, staring at her reflection on the black screen of her phone. The same reflection that had always looked strong, untouchable. Now it looked shaken. By sunrise, news spread that investigators had begun reviewing files tied to the alleged $50 million fraud. It wasn't just Kirk and Mendeecees anymore. Yandi's name was suddenly on the list. The blogs went feral. Love and hip-hop star under financial probe. New twist in Atlanta fraud scandal. The network tried to contain it, but leaks moved faster than statements. Even Rasheeda, who had been silent for days, couldn't hide her shock when she saw Yandi's face on the morning reports. She called Kirk immediately. "You seeing this?" He sounded distracted. "Yeah, I'm seeing it." She pressed. "So what's the truth, Kirk? Because the way this is going, everybody about to fall together." He sighed deeply, the kind of sound that comes from a man trapped. "They traced some contracts to your boutique account, Rasheeda. You might want to get ahead of this." The silence on the line was suffocating. "What do you mean, my account?" she asked slowly. "The promo deal for the new clothing line. We used the same consultant Mendeecees brought in. That's how the signatures got mixed." He was speaking fast now, panicked. "Look, I didn't know he was using fake paperwork. I thought it was just branding stuff. Rasheeda's voice cracked into fury. So you put my name, my business, in a fake deal without even checking. Later that afternoon, Yandi arrived at the police department wearing dark glasses and a steady expression. Cameras flashing all around her. Ms. Smith, is it true you're under investigation? Someone shouted. She didn't answer, but her silence said enough. Inside the station, she met with detectives who laid out files and digital records. Each contract looked authentic, complete with her name and digital seal. These are forged, she insisted. I didn't sign anything like this. The detective leaned back. Then someone wanted you in this. Question is who? Outside, fans watched the live streams with disbelief. Yandi innocent. They framing her. Nah, she'd been too quiet. She hiding something. Opinions divided like fault lines, and the city trembled again. Rasheeda, pacing her boutique floor, felt her phone buzz. It was a text from Jasmine. You ready to hear the truth now? She froze. After all this time, Jasmine reaching out meant one thing: something new was coming. They met that night at an empty lounge, closed for renovations, where no cameras could follow. Jasmine wore black, her tone flat but eyes sharp. You remember that contract your husband bragged about, the one that was supposed to launch your new store line? Rasheeda nodded cautiously. What about it? Jasmine slid her phone across the table. On the screen was a string of emails between Kirk and a broker named Alonzo Gray. Each message detailed how Kirk had approved falsified numbers to inflate the deal's worth. At the bottom, Kirk's digital signature glowed. Rasheeda stared at it, her throat tightening. Where did you get this? Jasmine's answer was cold. Same place your husband got my name dragged through the dirt from the truth. Tears welled in Rasheeda's eyes before she could stop them. She whispered, so it was him, all along. Jasmine nodded. And he used Yandi's name because she was clean. He needed someone the network would trust. The realization sank in like poison. Everything, the slap, the rumors, the fights had been built on a lie. Kirk started. Rasheeda leaned back, her body trembling. Why are you showing me this? Jasmine hesitated. Because I'm done being the villain. You don't have to forgive me, but you deserve to know who your real enemy is. As Rasheeda left the lounge, the night air felt heavy. She didn't call Kirk right away. Instead, she drove aimlessly through Atlanta, her mind spinning through memories, his promises, his excuses, his endless charm. Every one of them now looked like manipulation. She finally stopped her car by the river, staring at the city lights. Her voice broke into the dark. You ruined everything, Kirk. Meanwhile, Kirk sat at home, scrolling through articles and watching his empire crumble in real time. His phone buzzed non-stop. Lawyers, producers, reporters, but he ignored them all. When Rasheeda finally walked in near midnight, he tried to speak. Baby, but she raised a hand. Don't. Just don't. She tossed Jasmine's phone onto the table. He looked down, and his face drained of color. You went through my emails. No, she said coldly. The woman you let me hit did. His lips parted, searching for words, but none came. You lied about everything, she said quietly, and you dragged everyone down with you. The next morning, another storm hit. Jasmine released the emails publicly, tagging major outlets and adding one sentence: truth hurts worse than a slap. Atlanta exploded. Every major blog, podcast, and entertainment page carried the story. Kirk's image, once polished, shattered overnight. Sponsors began pulling out. Network reps distanced themselves, and fans flooded comments with outrage. Some demanded justice for Jasmine, others called for Kirk's arrest. And through it all, Yandi's name was cleared when investigators confirmed the digital forgeries. Yandi posted a short video that evening. She didn't gloat. Her voice was calm, almost sad. When you build on lies, everything eventually falls. I hope everybody watching learns from this. Fans praised her grace, flooding her feed with love and relief. Rasheeda, meanwhile, stayed silent. She hadn't posted, hadn't spoken publicly, hadn't even left her house in 2 days. Then finally, on the third night, she went live. Her face appeared pale, her eyes tired but determined. To everyone watching, she began softly. I owe you honesty. I made mistakes. I trusted someone I shouldn't have, and I hurt people who didn't deserve it. She paused, the silence stretching. Jasmine, I can't take back what I did, but I can tell you, woman to woman, I'm sorry. The comments exploded with disbelief, support, and tears. Jasmine watched quietly from her apartment, hand over her mouth. Even Yandi commented with a single heart emoji. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was something close. The following week, Kirk was seen leaving Atlanta under the glare of cameras, duffel bag slung over his shoulder. Reporters shouted, "Are you facing charges?" He didn't answer. He just climbed into a black SUV and drove off, disappearing into the same silence he once filled with charm. Rasheeda reopened her boutique months later, renamed it Rebirth. The first display window showed a mannequin wearing a white suit, the same one she'd worn the day she faced the press, a quiet symbol of what she'd survived. Jasmine signed a deal with a record label, turning her pain into purpose. Her first single was titled Receipts. Yandy expanded her foundation, launching a mentorship program for women rebuilding after public scandals. When she gave her first speech, she said, "Some stories aren't meant to destroy us, they're meant to reveal who we really are." And still, Atlanta buzzed. New rumors rose, old wounds healed slowly, and reality kept blurring with fiction. But one thing was clear: after everything, the fights, the fraud, the lies, and the truth, each woman walked away stronger. And as fans watched from behind their screens, they couldn't look away, because somewhere deep down, they knew this wasn't just about fame or money. It was about survival. And in Atlanta, survival is the real headline. When the crew thought the storm had passed, Rasheeda's phone started ringing non-stop, and the sound alone made everyone freeze. It was Kirk. His name flashing on her screen made her eyes tighten, and Jasmine instantly stepped back, as if sensing that the next wave of chaos was about to hit harder than before. Rasheeda answered with a sharp breath. Kirk's voice came through cold and clipped. "What the hell are you doing on set? The network's blowing up my phone, saying you just assaulted Jasmine. Are you out of your mind?" Rasheeda shot back without hesitation. "Assaulted? She came for me, Kirk. She's been forging contracts in my name. You want to talk about losing control? Tell your side piece to stop using my name for $1 million scams." Jasmine's face turned red. "Don't twist this. I didn't use your name. I was trying to help your brand," she shouted, her voice cracking under pressure. The cameras were still rolling, and everyone could feel the air tighten like a wire ready to snap. Kirk's voice on the phone grew louder, echoing through the set speakers. "Rasheeda, listen, this isn't the place," but she cut him off. "No, this is the place. Everyone's been hiding, pretending, covering lies for years. Well, I'm done covering for anyone." The room fell silent again, until Jasmine took a trembling step forward. "You think I'm scared of your threats? I got proof too." She pulled her phone from her bag and waved it. "Text messages, receipts, voice notes. And if I drop them, Atlanta's gonna see a whole different side of you, Miss Boss Chick." Gasps spread like wildfire. The production manager whispered into his headset, "Do not stop recording." Rasheeda's hands clenched. "Drop them then. Let everyone see how you played yourself trying to live off my name." Jasmine's tone turned low and venomous. "You want to talk about lies? Let's talk about that secret account Kirk's been using. You think I don't know about the $50 million transfer under your label's name? Fraud goes both ways, sweetheart." Kirk's muffled voice came through the phone. "Jasmine, stop." But it was too late. She had everyone's attention now. People in the crew started whispering, eyes darting between Rasheeda and Jasmine like watching a slow explosion. Rasheeda's chest rose and fell. "You're lying," she said, but her voice had lost its edge. Jasmine smirked. Maybe that's why you're trying so hard to bury me. Maybe this whole fight is about keeping your own hands clean." One of the lighting guys muttered, "This is crazy." As the cameras zoomed in, Jasmine kept going, her words hitting like bullets. "You built that perfect family brand, that power couple image, but everyone knows what Kirk did. Maybe you covered for him because that money wasn't his alone. Maybe it was both of you." Rasheeda stepped closer, trembling but steady in her eyes. "You think I need Kirk's money? I built everything with my own hands. You wouldn't last a day doing what I do." Jasmine tilted her head. "Then why are you shaking?" That one sentence broke something in Rasheeda. She lunged forward again, but this time security rushed in faster, pulling them apart before another slap could land. Kirk was still shouting through the phone, "Rasheeda, listen to me. Don't give them what they want." But his voice drowned beneath the shouting, the chaos, the echo of boots scraping against the studio floor. Jasmine yelled, "Get your hands off me. She's insane." As Rasheeda struggled against the guard's arms, "You better start praying, Jasmine, because the next time you cross me, it won't be on camera." The director, realizing this footage was pure gold, shouted, "Keep rolling." And someone whispered, "This is gonna break the internet." By the time they were pulled into separate rooms, the entire set was buzzing. Phones came out, clips were being uploaded in real time, and hashtags were already forming. Hashtag RASHEED, AV's Jasmine # $1 million fraud, hashtag Atlanta drama. In her dressing room, Jasmine was pacing, her makeup smudged but her pride intact. She called someone, her voice trembling but filled with determination. "It's done. I told her about the account. Now she'll have to talk. On the other side, Rasheeda sat alone, staring at her reflection. Her mascara streaked down her face, and for the first time, she looked tired, not angry, not proud, just tired. Kirk's voice came again on speaker. Rasheeda, we need to fix this before it gets out of control. She whispered, it's already out. Meanwhile, outside the studio, reporters were gathering. Fans online were dissecting every second of leaked footage, every word, every expression. One fan tweeted, Rasheeda really slapped Jasmine over 50 million. Love and hip-hop just turned into Law and Order. Another wrote, I knew Jasmine wasn't lying. This been brewing for years. Within hours, the video hit millions of views. Commentators, bloggers, and gossip pages flooded the internet. Even other cast members started chiming in, picking sides. One insider posted, this isn't fake. That fight was real. Jasmine brought evidence. And now the network lawyers are involved. The situation had spiraled into something beyond television. It was becoming a full-blown public scandal. By midnight, Kirk's lawyer had released a short statement denying all fraud accusations and warning that unauthorized footage will face legal action. But the damage was already done. People were demanding answers, and the tension between Rasheeda and Jasmine had crossed a point of no return. Back in the quiet of her room, Rasheeda picked up her phone again. She scrolled through Jasmine's social media. Saw the new post, a picture of Jasmine smiling, captioned, Truth always wins. Rasheeda's hand tightened around her phone. She whispered to herself, you want to play truth? Fine, let's play. Her reflection stared back at her with cold resolve. Whatever came next, she wasn't backing down this time. The next morning, Atlanta woke up to chaos. Every blog, every talk show, every gossip site had the same headline flashing across their screens. Rasheeda accused of $50 million fraud after violent fight with Jasmine on set. Fans flooded comment sections with theories. Some defended Rasheeda, calling Jasmine a liar, hungry for fame. Others claimed Jasmine was brave for exposing the truth. Memes, slow-motion edits, and leaked clips from the set were everywhere. One video of the slap had already hit 10 million views before breakfast. By noon, both women's teams had gone silent, and that silence was only making the noise louder. Inside her boutique, Rasheeda tried to look composed, greeting her staff as cameras swarmed outside, but her eyes were sharp and restless. She picked up her phone and called Kirk. They're saying we laundered money through What the hell is happening? Kirk sighed heavily. Somebody leaked our account info. Jasmine must have had access to something. We're trying to trace it. Rasheeda slammed her hand on the counter. Trying isn't enough. I want her stopped. She's ruining everything we built. Kirk said, if we go after her too hard, it looks guilty. She laughed bitterly. And if we stay quiet, it looks worse. Meanwhile, Jasmine was being interviewed in a downtown hotel, sitting beside a celebrity blogger known for exposing scandals. She looked calm, almost rehearsed, sipping coffee while cameras rolled. I didn't want to fight her. Jasmine began softly, her voice trembling just enough to sound sincere. But when I found out they used my name on fake contracts to hide money transfers, I had to speak up. The blogger leaned closer. So you're saying Rasheeda and Kirk's brand is built on fraud? Jasmine hesitated, then nodded. I'm saying the truth doesn't lie, no matter how expensive the lies are. That clip alone sent shockwaves through the internet. Fans started calling Jasmine a whistleblower, while others accused her of playing victim. Back at the boutique, one of Rasheeda's assistants rushed in holding a tablet. You need to see this, she said. The video of Jasmine's interview played, and Rasheeda's face hardened. She wants a war. Fine, she's gonna get one. She called her publicist immediately. Book me an interview. Tonight, live. Kirk, overhearing her, tried to stop her. Don't feed it, Rasheeda. Let the lawyers handle it. She turned to him, voice low but steady. You let her humiliate me in front of millions, and now you want me to sit quiet. I'm done protecting reputations. Hours later, Rasheeda sat under bright studio lights. The interviewer smiled politely, trying to mask the tension. So, Rasheeda, did Jasmine tell the truth? Rasheeda leaned forward. Truth. Jasmine doesn't know the meaning of the word. That girl's been chasing my spotlight since day one. She's forged contracts, lied about collaborations, and now she's spinning stories because she's broke. The interviewer asked, what about the $50 million fraud claim? Rasheeda smiled tightly. If I had $50 million to hide, you think I'd still be here working every day? Please. This whole thing is her fantasy. But as soon as the interview aired, things got darker. Jasmine posted screenshots on her Instagram stories showing documents, payment records, and what looked like a transfer receipt from Kirk's business account. Since they want to act blind, she wrote, here's a little flashlight. Within minutes, the internet exploded. People zoomed into every pixel, analyzing signatures, dates, and watermarks. The network issued a statement announcing an internal review, which fans immediately took as confirmation that something real was happening. Later that night, Rasheeda was pacing again. Kirk walked in, holding his phone. You need to see this. Jasmine had just gone live. Thousands were watching. She was crying, holding up what looked like a legal notice. They're threatening to sue me for defamation, she said between sobs. But everything I said is true. They can't silence me. Kirk muttered. She's dangerous now. She's making herself the victim. Rasheeda clenched her fists. Then we stop her before she stops us. The next morning, things took an even sharper turn. TMZ released unseen footage from the feed-a-longer version, showing Kirk arriving on set minutes after the slap. In the clip, he can be heard shouting, "Get rid of those papers, Jasmine." The internet went wild. People began questioning why Kirk would say that if he had nothing to hide. Hashtags like #what did Kirk destroy and #RASHEEDA secrets started trending. Rasheeda's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Brand sponsors began pulling back, and one of her major deals was suddenly under review. By afternoon, Kirk's lawyer called. We have a problem. Jasmine's lawyer filed a report claiming document tampering and fraud. If investigators start digging, everything including your personal accounts will be examined. Rasheeda closed her eyes, feeling the weight of every headline pressing down. Kirk sat across from her, his voice low. Maybe we just need to tell the truth. She snapped. The truth won't save us now. Across town, Jasmine sat with her lawyer, confidence replacing tears. They underestimated me, she said, scrolling through comments filled with support. They thought I'd back down, but now everyone's watching. Her lawyer nodded. And the more they fight it publicly, the worse it looks for them. Jasmine smiled faintly. Good, let it burn. That night, the network executives held an emergency meeting. Some wanted to cut the footage. Others argued to air the full unedited version for ratings. One executive said, we can't bury it anymore. The world already saw it. The only choice now is to own it. The decision was made. The episode would air with every raw second included. When Rasheeda found out, she lost it. They're gonna air my worst moment for views. Kirk tried to calm her. Maybe it'll show Jasmine's manipulations too. But she shook her head. No, it'll show me hitting her. It'll show me losing control. And that's all people will remember. As the air date approached, fans online turned the countdown into an event. Thursday night's gonna be legendary. One post read, bloggers teased exclusive unseen angles, and even former castmates started taking sides. Scrappy posted a cryptic story. Loyalty gets tested when money's on the line. The night of the airing, Atlanta streets were quiet. Every bar, every living room had the same channel on. The episode opened with Rasheeda's voiceover about loyalty and betrayal, followed by the now iconic slap scene. People screamed at their screens. The moment Jasmine yelled, "You forged the contracts," replayed again and again across social media. After the credits rolled, Jasmine posted, "You all saw it. I wasn't lying." Rasheeda responded minutes later, "The full truth isn't out yet." The comments flooded in instantly. Fans split down the middle, some calling Rasheeda a fraud, others saying Jasmine was clout chasing. It was the kind of chaos reality TV dreams of but for them. It wasn't just a show anymore. Hours later, while the city buzzed with reactions, a quiet meeting took place in a dim office. Kirk sat across from a man in a gray suit. The man slid a folder across the table. "We found where the 50 million came from," he said. Kirk froze, and the man replied calmly, "It's traced back to an offshore account connected to one of your companies. But here's the twist, it wasn't Jasmine who opened it." Kirk's eyes widened. "Then who?" The man hesitated. "Someone close to Rasheeda." The next words left Kirk cold. "Her cousin handled the transactions." Kirk leaned back, whispering, "Dear God." The man nodded. "The question now is whether Rasheeda knew or if she's about to find out she's been betrayed too." And just like that, the story shifted again. What started as a slap on set had turned into a maze of money, betrayal, and secrets waiting to surface. Atlanta wasn't done erupting yet, and that, right there, is where everything stands, raw, tense, and teetering on the edge of collapse. One slap sparked it all. But now it's no longer just about tempers or pride. It's about $50 million, ruined reputations, and a truth that no one seems ready to face. Rasheeda is quiet, but everyone knows that kind of silence means something is coming. Jasmine, meanwhile, is feeding the flames, dropping hints online and promising the real story soon. Fans are caught in the middle. debating who's right and who's lying, but deep down, everyone feels that this drama isn't close to over. So here's where you come in. What do you think really happened behind those closed doors? Was Jasmine telling the truth all along? Or did she just pull the biggest publicity stunt Atlanta's ever seen? Could Rasheeda actually be innocent? Or is there more to the story than she's letting on? And what about Kirk? Was he protecting his wife? Or hiding something far worse? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now, because the internet is on fire trying to piece this together. Maybe you noticed something the rest of us missed: a line, a glance, a word that gave it all away. Your theory could be the one that cracks this entire scandal wide open. And if you think this story's wild already, just wait. The next episode promises to take things even further. Sources close to production are already whispering about leaked footage, deleted scenes, and a mysterious new player stepping into the mix. They're saying someone from Rasheeda's own family might be involved in the transfers, and, if that's true, the next fallout could be explosive. But until then, hit that like button if you've been following this roller coaster from the start. It helps the story reach more fans who live for this kind of raw, unpredictable Atlanta drama. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next update, because once the new footage drops, everything could flip. Friendships, marriages, entire reputations, nothing's safe anymore. Turn on your notifications right now, because this saga isn't slowing down. And trust me, when the next bombshell hits, you'll want to be the first to say, "I saw it coming." This isn't just gossip, it's a full-blown reality war, and the battle lines are drawn. Jasmine's got her receipts, Rasheeda's got her silence, Kirk's got his secrets, and Atlanta's got front row seats to the downfall of its power players. So stay locked in, because every second that passes, something new is surfacing. Alliances will shift, lies will unravel, and when the truth finally hits daylight, it won't just change reputations, titillate everything we thought we knew about these people. Until that moment, keep the conversation alive in the comments. Whose side are you on? Whose story do you believe? And what do you think happens next? Remember to like, subscribe, and share this video with your crew. The more voices in this debate, the wilder it gets. And right now, Atlanta is watching, waiting, and choosing sides. This was the slap that started a war, and it's far from finished. Stay tuned, because the next chapter could make everything you just heard sound tame.